We in the trenches, relax.
Welcome to the Trenches Podcast.
A collab
to debut that. Yeah, they've done something before, but nothing like sort of like this. So it's pretty cool.
You should have made them do
Pretty
a challenge first, and then do a collab. See whose is better. And then
Bro, it was
Fight to the death.
Honestly, man, we've been working on this for like 3 weeks, and I'm like, hey, man, I can't rush the artist, but hurry that shit up.
that's
Nah,
what
I'm
you were
just
doing in bed at 11 a.m. this morning, right?
That's what I was doing. I was
Yeah,
shooting a
just
text
like
to making sure everything was cool.
I know what it looks like when a businessman is, getting stuff done, whether he's in bed or not.
Yeah, I'm glad you recognize that because it
Yeah,
did look
real-
pretty bad. My hair was all messed up. I didn't even brush my
recognize
teeth
real.
yet.
Yeah. I get what goes on. I know what it looks like for sure.
Yeah, man. Except your Mondays look a little different. When you check the account, you don't see negatives.
Bro,
You know?
well, like we talked about, it depends on what time of day. It can be, it's either negative or real negative, depending on what time it is. I just had a tenant who her card got declined twice, and so I was like, can you? And she's like, okay, I'm putting money on it right now, and I was like, you have until the 8th, and I was like, because I know how that is. Because I get emails on the regular that's like, your credit card was declined for just because whatever, like so much stuff is getting charged. So I was like,
Yeah.
You get a pass. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Look at you. You're such a nice landlord. Look at you.
I'm not a slumlord. I'll tell you that. I could be, but I'm not.
Bro, that's funny.
I'm nice to all my people.
I would hope so. But anyways, bro, let me introduce you. How rude of me. I didn't even introduce you.
I mean, I was
First
waiting.
of
I
all-
was just small talking until.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Trenches. I'm here with some new decor. As you can see, my beautiful. We'll get to Matt later, but you can see my beautiful neon sign.
Talk about
Move
it.
to a corner.
Talk.
It was a
about
tax write-off too, bro.
it. Yeah, my boy.
Hey, but real quick, if you don't know who Matt is, make sure you go back and check out our last episode when we were in Chicago. We did a pull-up episode, and it was amazing. We dropped that, like 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think 3.
I'm still getting emails. Actually, I just got a text talking about it right now. So, yeah, check it out. Bunch of nuggets, and we're going to continue to hopefully keep dropping information to help you guys and help me and all throughout that process. So, once again, we are here with Mr. Matt Riley, the Windy City agent.
Oh, by the way, bro,
Talk to me.
appreciate it.
What's
But
going on?
You're gonna have to go back and edit the description on the last one because me and you have been boys for a while now,
We have.
and I don't know how many white friends you have, so I know like you might get you might get confused on like how we spell our last names and stuff. But I just
No way, I spelled your last name wrong?
Yeah, I let it ride for 3 weeks.
Bro, why
And
didn't you
I
tell
said-
me? That's a cool.
I just chalked it up to like I know you don't have that many white friends. It's like my last
Bro,
name.
that's so funny.
My last name isn't like Sullivan or something simple like that. So I just chalked it up to like you just I think it was just that white disrespect you gave me. Is that it was.
That's so funny.
I looked at it and I was like,
my
do
God, I gotta see how
I
it's
say something right away? And I was like, let's just let it ride for a little bit and just
Oh
kind
my
of.
dude, that's so funny. Let me see.
And I'm glad that I never, truly, for anybody that's watching this, I have not mentioned it to you until right now on camera.
Dude, you did it, bro.
while
That's so funny.
Since we started recording. So I just wanted to put that out there for everybody.
Let me see. I think I spelled it like that one Riley Reid. I don't know if you know who that is. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't know. I have no idea who that
let me
is. Would
see.
never. Do you want
Bro,
me
your
to spell
name-
it for you, or how do you want to do this?
Hold on, brother. Your name's not even in the title. It says the Windy City agent,
Yeah.
investments, credit, coronavirus, Chicago riots, and more.
In the
Your
description.
name's not even here, bro.
Where you click the arrow and it bumps it down into like the actual description.
But nobody sees that shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Please go to the description because all the important information about the video is in there. So please check it out.
Yeah,
Links everywhere.
Could have got so many followers, but people are like, I can't find this Matt Riley guy. I don't know where to find him. I'm not really
Honestly,
sure
though,
what's
bro,
going on.
spell check be a motherfucker, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we won't.
I
touch
did it on
that.
purpose. No, I'm just kidding.
I said my piece, and that's all I want to say about that.
Hey, I'm gonna make sure I get that over to my editor, my chief editor.
Yeah, I know that there's a chain of command over there that you got to
Of
go
course.
through in order
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get that. Yeah, you had no
I'm-
idea.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to fire some motherfuckers too, bro. Just the way the video's taking forever to upload.
Bro.
It's a tough time right here at the Trenches Studios.
Well, you gotta fake it till you make it, and let me tell you, that studio is looking good.
Dude, it's looking pretty good now, right?
I'm mad at how good it looks. Like, I don't want it to look that good this early, but like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
But, if it wasn't for you, you remember you were like, dude, hurry up with these fucking podcasts. I thought you were going to do them.
Bro.
And I was like, well, hold on, man. I got to make sure this stuff looks
Yeah.
good. And then I was kind of like, you know what? You're right. I just have to work with what I got. Because imagine, I just got this right now, bro. It's like, imagine we would have started 2 months, waited another 2 months. It's just a waste of time. But now, we're
tough love. Like, I was mad at you.
appreciate you,
I was like, Joe, stop enough with the fucking neon signs. Stop with the
know.
theme songs and the nice edits in the beginning. Just put a fucking video up first. But it ended up working out because now you got a nice setup.
Appreciate you, brother.
Nice setup.
Well, real quick, like I said, if about we touched on what Matt and I are going to be doing with these videos, but I want you to talk a little bit about it too, man, because you and I have had these conversations off camera about I never got these type of, like, again, it was just lucky that I met you.
Yeah.
And I think it was, just me asking the right questions and stuff like that. Or, I guess with you is a little bit bad example because, I never really asked you. I never really paid attention to what you did on the side until after I left. But the point is like, I still met you at the right place, right time. And then we built a relationship and stuff like that. But, I tell you and I tell people all the time too, when they ask me about this podcast, it's just like, I want to bring information to people that, don't necessarily get to be in the right place, right time, or in certain situations to meet people who, damn near have a second income. You know what I mean?
Right.
Second, third, fourth. You especially, man. You're doing your thing out here, and that's awesome. But yeah, man. Touch a little bit on why we're doing this and what we plan to bring.
Yeah, man. I think you touched on it perfectly right there. It's like, I think there's so many people out there that just don't like they have, and I think social media is a beautiful thing. I think it's a necessary evil. I think social media can definitely play a negative role because there's a lot of people faking it on social media, and it makes people who don't know what's up want to strive for the wrong thing. But it's also a place where you can. There's just so endless amounts of knowledge out there and information that you can go get. And so I think it's a beautiful thing. But there's so many people out there that want to invest, whether it's in real estate, stock market, 100 different things. But they just don't have anybody in their family, in their social circle, anything like that they can get that information from. Like, just me as a real estate agent, I have people that'll call me and just say, hey, I want to go buy a house. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, do I need credit for that? And I'm like, wow, like there's so much bad information out there, and there's so much just a lack of information.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's more of a lack because and I think it just goes full circle. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
there's so many things where it's almost like I'm almost embarrassed to ask. I mean, I don't care now, but like I'd be like, man, I don't want to like sound dumb, and that's the thing too. I think there's another anxiety about looking for the information. Number one, feeling overwhelmed because there's so many. I mean, there's so much, and then we talked about it too when we sat down. Is who to trust because there's so many people selling dreams and talking about this, coming to you like, man, I have 1,000 units. Like, let me show you how to do it. You know what I mean? So
that's the biggest thing is the trust thing too. Because like you said, if you don't have anybody in your immediate circle or anybody that like maybe somebody in your immediate circle knows. When you're going to ask those questions, you have to go completely out of your circle and go find, you might have met this person on the internet or who knows. Like you said, you might feel stupid asking questions because you have no idea who this person is. And then like, can you trust this person with their answers and what guidance they're giving you? So it's definitely tough for sure. So it's nice to be able to break down those barriers or at least try to.
For sure. And that's, that's one of the things. Because there's just so many, like, just to, like, I don't know, because investing is big as a whole, you know what I mean? Like, it can be, just that word can be broken down into a whole bunch of different things.
Yep.
And they're all really interesting. And within those groups of different things, there's subgroups of different ways. For example, like real estate, you can do wholesale, flip. And it's just like, so it just keeps breaking down and breaking down. So it's like, the plan is to talk about all of them, obviously not right now, but talk about all of them. Just so you can sort of get in where you fit in, and I think that's really important. Different type of loan programs and all that stuff. And I'm also learning with you guys too, so don't think I'm over here.
I was gonna say you already seem like you got more than last time.
Yeah,
Boy was doing his homework.
I try, man, and that's one of the things, man, where it's like, I think I told you too. I was like, I rarely listen to music now. I mean, the new Drake dropped, so I had to listen to it. But like, yeah, it was fire, right?
Yes. I was listening to
but a lot of the time, man, I just try to, you know, a little bit. I listen to like a little bit of a funny podcast, but the rest is just like, you know, just YouTube videos and just people talking to you, talking to other people like you. Because I feel like you have to become obsessed with this stuff, and the only way to really be obsessed is to, you know, just dive in head first and sort of just learn how to swim.
There's so much information, and like you were saying, like you were just breaking down even just like the small things, like, oh, there's wholesaling, there's flipping, there's so much of it. And so like when you're first starting out, and like before you start out, your mind is closed. It has no idea that these things even exist. And then it's just like, once you crack your mind open just that little bit, and you're like, oh, and then you start learning about it, and then your mind is fully open. It's like trying to drink water out of a fire hydrant at one point. You're just like, there's so much coming in, and it's hard to digest it all. And so it's definitely one of those things where you have to become obsessed with it because there's so much of it to learn. And you don't have to know it all at once, and obviously, and I think that's the big thing too, is just like, because information is free and so accessible now, I think it becomes to a point where you think that, like, because you have access to it 24/7, that you have to be consuming it 24/7 because you can actually learn something 24/7. But I think it's just it can be overwhelming, but just focusing on certain aspects of one thing, getting to know that, trying to be a quote unquote expert in that, and then moving on. I think what people make a big mistake is trying to learn everything all at once, and then you just overwhelm yourself, and it just becomes crazy. So
yeah, and that's the cool thing about too, which is the internet, man, is like, you know, you can kind of go at your own pace, which is also really important too. And that's kind of how we want to break down, you know, these type of videos, to where it's like, you know, whenever you're at, you know, whatever starting point, or you want to decide, you know, we have week by week, I guess pamphlet. It's sort of like a, you know, visual audio pamphlet of how you want to go about it. But I think that's really true what you said, where it's like, because dude, if you type in like just real estate on YouTube, I'm so curious. There's 100 billion different ways, and it's just like, you know what, dude, never mind.
Bro, I have a permanent neck kink. Just like that. I know it's never going to go. It's with me for life. Just from sitting in my bed at nighttime, from just scrolling endlessly. Because it's like one of those things where it's like, it's fun. And like, don't get me wrong, it's fun at a certain point. Like once you start learning something, you learn it to a point where you can actually start applying it. Like that's where the fun begins. So that's where like the real obsession takes place. So that's definitely where the point is, where you catch yourself staying up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's like, now I know enough to be able to apply it. So everything I learn from here on out is gravy that I can actually go apply. So you never want to go to bed. You always want to. It becomes crazy, and so you have to do it in healthy doses. But I would much rather someone stay up and be doing that type of, instead of looking up fucking cat videos and, you know, whatever other bullshit on YouTube that you could be wasting your time with.
Dude, and that's so funny, bro, because there'll be times too where I'll just be spent, where I'm, you know, because it's just like, you know, work all day, and then like cutting people at home, at their house, coming over here, finishing this, and it's just like, I'll catch myself and I'm like, all right, let me just watch like some shit on YouTube, and then I'm like, I damn near feel guilty, because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
you should be doing this.
Yeah. So it never stops, but it's one of those things too where it's kind of like what you said, like once you kind of, because for me, at least what happened with me is, once I started learning about it, and you know, listening to the different type of, like, again, like just breaking it down to, I don't know, once I first heard somebody say wholesale, I don't know what that meant. And then I learned about it, and I'm like, oh shit, now I know what that means. But then you kind of be like, and then now you almost have enough information to where you can engage in a conversation, and now you learn 10 times more what that is, because it's and now you just gained a friend who can be like, you know, hey, I don't know, you can just engage in conversation with that, and that's when the shit really starts to get fun.
Yeah, man, because it's one of those things too. It's like, you know, something that you're interested in like that, like you want to learn about it, and so as you're learning about it, you want to talk about it at the same time too, because it's interesting to you, and that's what I was telling you before. Like, it becomes fun once you start learning about something, because then you start learning the vocabulary that comes with it, and you kind of learn the terminology, and then you just catch yourself talking about it, And then you'll just be out in random situations and in different social circles or whatever, and you'll catch yourself saying something. And dude, investors want to talk just as much as you do, and so and they're listening all the time, and they're always talking about it. So their ears are always on. So they all they hear is that one key word that you use or whatever, and then here they are talking to you. And like I said, I've caught myself so many times just in the last 2 years where just from like opening myself up in like a networking space and just doing the homework and doing the work and actually knowing what I'm talking about and all that kind of stuff, like the certain situations I've been in the last 2 years where I'm talking to certain people and I'm like, why the fuck are you talking to me? Like, this is, why am I here? Yeah. What is going on? Like, this is nuts. And like, I would say maybe there's 1% of investors that are dickheads that are going to try to rub it in your face that they have 10,000 units and they're going to be assholes to you no matter what. You know, they're not going to answer your questions. But I would say 99% of the people, like, they're just regular. They want to help you. They want to answer your questions. Like, so it's so nice to, you know, I was talking to some crazy people last summer that, you know, they're the largest hotel owners in the Midwest. They got boats, they got Ferraris, they got, you know, all these types of things. And they're just like, if I didn't know any better, no way would I know. They're just chill people who, and, you know, you can ask them questions. And so I think what you can do is just, you know, like I said, just the more information you can get, but keep it, you know, obviously healthy, like, you know, break it up and listen to some music and shit every once in a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, man, because I remember telling you, too, like, there was times where I'm listening to this, like, some podcast, and I'm just like, this is boring as fuck, bro. Like, to where it just makes me, like, uninterested at the point, too, where I'm just like, man, maybe this shit ain't for me, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, and it depends, you, like, it's good, like, but that's why you have to, like, keep listening to different, like, once you find somebody that you like, you'll stick with them, because that's the thing, like, there's so much information, so if you're listening to, like, an audio or, like, a whatever, yeah, man, it could get so fucking boring. Like, there's even people that I like, and still I'll get like 20 minutes into it and I'm like, yeah, I'll finish this tomorrow. Maybe. I don't know. I can't do this. And I think at a certain point, beginners they have this idea of, it's like having a kid. It's like, yeah, I'll have a kid when I'm ready. And they set like a goal for themselves of when they're ready to have a kid. And it's like, I need to make this much money and be set. And it's like, you're never going to be ready because even when you get to that point, you're going to kick the can a little bit farther down the road. And so it's the same thing with like people who are starting out investing or who are curious about it. I'll start once I gain this much knowledge. And so they'll just keep making excuses and they'll just sit on YouTube and learn and keep learning and not actually go out and do it. And I think the best thing is just like I think real estate's awesome because it's one of the best things that you can do, but it's also one of those things where it's like, go get your hands dirty. Like it's one of those on the job, on the site learning experiences. Like if you're a doctor, you're not going to be like, I'll be a better doctor. I'm just going to go in the operating room and just start, and then I'll get better at it. Like, you know, you got to be smart and learn, like all that kind of stuff. Real estate's like, yeah, man, go follow somebody, go get your hands dirty, go do, you know, whatever you can do, and you'll learn on the job. You can't just live in a book the whole time. So I think that's a big thing. I call it analysis paralysis, and it's people that just analyze the deals and they just keep making excuses of why they can't pull the trigger, or, you know, I got to learn a little bit more, and they'll just keep doing it, and then they'll just never buy. They'll just never buy.
Yeah, I feel like I fell into that a little bit. But for me, again, before I was just like, I feel like I don't have enough money. You know, I'm like, I don't have enough. And so, what are your thoughts on that? Because I guarantee you, without people saying it, that's a lot of people's number one thing is like, man, I just don't like. But besides, I don't even know where to start. It's just like, bro, I don't know if I have enough money. But looking at my shit, I don't feel like I do. Yeah. So
you never will. You never feel like it though. But I think going back to the beginning of like. Lack of information, you know, I get people all the time that, you know, all these, now they're starting to bring back they're starting to give money back again to first-time home buyers.
Yeah, I saw that, dude. I saw,
yeah.
Shout out my boy Biden. Biden out here. What's up?
Sleepy Joe in the house.
Sleepy Joe coming through.
Handing out all sorts of checks. You don't care.
Yeah, so
Sleepy Joe's got like that. He's got that dollar bill gun like in the rap videos. He's just shooting out checks just left and right. Yeah, I got mixed emotions about it. I think it's obviously I think it's good. They really started
money back thing.
Yeah, they started doing. There was a program that they started after the '08 crash, and that's. They started doing like rent to own, and they started doing this $7,500 first time home buyer down payment assistance, and it was basically to like stimulate the market again because the market was just shit for 4 or 5 years, short sales, foreclosures,
people
everything.
weren't doing anything.
So they were starting to they were trying what they could, and so they were giving out $7,500 to first time home buyers to try to stimulate the market to get people out there buying again, and this market is the exact opposite of that. There's not enough houses out there. I mean, the inventory is at a historic low. It's like at a historic 10-year low. It's nuts. So for him to incentivize more buyers to come to an already stressed market, I don't think is the best thing for the market, but I mean, it's not gonna crash it or anything, but it's just gonna stress it even more than it already is. Like, there's certain places in like California that they would have to not sell a house for an entire year just to be at like where they were a year prior. Like, not one house would.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, and obviously that's not gonna happen. So it's just like there's places that are 2 to 3 years away from being, a regular market again. So it's just nuts. So.
That's interesting, man. That's kind of how it is here. I'm talking to a lot of people, and we're having the conversation where I'm like, I'm looking at this, 2 to 4 units or whatever, and they're like, that's the only thing that's really available. Like they're building so much new shit out here, and it's just like
construction's crazy expensive now too.
Yeah, and they're just like, dude, even the new shit that they're building, wherever you go in Vegas, is like it's already booked. Like, you basically have to get on like that waiting list to where if people don't. Not the waiting list, but if something backs out, then it's just like, okay, well, you're number 5, and hopefully, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting, man. Like how.
Well, that's what's happening is just like the regular market's so crazy, so a lot of people are jumping to, because right now, I mean, most single family houses across the country too. Like, it's not just in random places. I mean, it's almost everywhere in the country. You're looking at a house that hits the market and is getting 10 to 15 offers and is getting 90 showing requests on day one. And so people are losing out over and over and over again, placing 10 offers on 10 different houses and losing out. So they're getting frustrated. So then they're going the new construction route because they're like, fuck waiting in line and fuck losing out for the next 30 houses. I'll just go build my own house and there will be no line. And these builders aren't dumb, and these builders know what's going on. So these builders are jacking up their prices. Plus, the cost of construction has gone up too. So like, you can't get 2x4s anywhere, and you can't get like So I know a couple people that are doing new construction, and from the time that they were going to do it like 3 months ago to now, the price has gone up like $45,000 on the base price of their house. These builders are just jacking up the prices. So. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So the multifamily market is, like you said, it is one of like, it's still crazy because most people don't have that mindset. I think, again, it goes back to a lack of information, I guess, where most people think that like FHA, you can only get a single family house. I got to go buy a house and I have to live there and, that's it. And they're not aware of these different loan products or what you can do with these loan products. And so the multifamily market's been a little bit of it's definitely been competitive for me, but it's been a little safe haven as well because you kind of see the more savvy people when you're bidding as opposed to just the regular people. So it's been a little less crowded, been a little less crazy.
I think that makes a lot of sense too, where people the lack of knowledge, man, because that was definitely not my plan at the beginning at all.
Yeah,
because like just like the thought of having 4 doors or 3, we'll just stick with 4. It's just kind of like, whoa, I feel like everything changes. It's a whole different game, and it's really not.
No.
It's really not at all. It's just, it's like having 4 different, apartment buildings, but in one, it's just so much easier. And I think that off-putted me for like the longest time. But what was I going to say about that? Because there's some new shit over here, right? There's like right across the street. And I was just like, man, like, I'm thinking about it, like, there's not going to be any issues. The AC is going to be fine, all these different things that you feel like you don't have to worry about. But then it's just like, well, you're not going to make that much money. And besides even all those questions, is like, you can't even get in one.
Yeah, that's the biggest part is like, yeah, you can come up with all the plans you want and you can have all these ideas, but it's just like finding something. Like, I'm going to knock on wood right now, but like, I've been pretty successful these last couple of months, like getting my clients the properties that they're looking for, and getting our offers accepted. A lot of it is just building rapport with like the listing agent, because again, this person's getting 50 showings. This person's getting multiple offers. He's getting phone call after phone. He's getting bombarded.
Yeah.
And so it's tough to make your offer stand out. And so like a lot of agents, what they'll do is they just like, Chuy wants this house. I'm your agent. Regular agent is just going to write up the offer, have you sign it, and just email it over to Joe Schmo, selling agent, and then that's it. They're not even notifying that they submitted an offer. So that thing just gets parked all the way at the bottom of their email. They don't even know that it's even there. Sometimes it goes to spam.
Yeah.
So it's been good. I've been able to reach out to these listing agents, have great conversations with them, find out what the seller's actually looking for, like what is going to make our offer stand out. And I think the best thing is that, like, and this isn't about shitting on other agents, but most agents don't invest in real estate themselves. They're just agents. Most of them just do single family houses, first time home buyers, and that's it. They're not actively engaged in the real estate market. In the connections that they've had, they've kind of built, off of their clients. And so like my connections, my network is from people that I actually have done deals with personally on my own properties, on my own investment properties. These are long-standing connections and networks that I have for the last 10 years or more. So like when I submit a client's offer, they're using my lender that I've used for over 10 years. They're using my attorney that I've known and used for over 10 years. They're using my personal sphere of people. And so like when I call that selling agent and I tell them like, hey, my client's rock solid. They're using my personal lender. He owns and operates his own mortgage company. He's using my attorney who I've known for over 10 years. We have a 100% success rate in getting our deals done. They do my own personal investment properties. I've done X amount of deals with them. I have all the confidence in, so it helps in that regard, because like I said, it sucks, man. I know a lot of agents that have just like 20 clients and they just cannot get them properties. They're sitting on so many buyers.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, they're sitting on so many buyers, 15, 20 buyers, and it sucks because that's a ton of money that you should be collecting, and you just can't even get these people houses. You can't get them properties. And you're forcing them into just like shitty properties, overpriced stuff just to get them to buy something. So it's a crazy market. So like I said, I have mixed emotions about if that does happen with Biden and him giving out that money, but we'll see if it actually goes through. But again, if a buyer needs it, man, there are programs out there. There's grants and there's down payment assistance programs that you can apply for if down payment money is an issue.
Yeah, that's one of the things too, kind of piggyback on what you were talking about. Now, where it gets dangerous, right, is where, like, because again, I don't know. I'm assuming when it starts to get dangerous is when, because right now here in Vegas, like a lot of stuff they're asking like 20, 30,000 above asking price, and you have no option because there's like nothing else. So, and that's when people are here. That's kind of what also has put me put me off a little bit, is where they're like, with that keeps happening and happening, eventually this is just going to blow up and stuff's going to tank, right? So explain to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, that, and that's another thing that's beautiful about real estate is it's not real estate's not a blanket statement. It's not just, it depends on what part of the country you're in. It depends on what kind of property you're talking about. Are you talking about a single family? Are you talking about a multifamily? Are you talking about commercial? And so West Coast definitely, California specifically, man, like I just, it is absolutely crazy to me. Like I said, the 3-bed, 1-bath, 900 square foot regular house that sells for $1.5 million, $2 million in California, and it's just like,
Jeez.
and what they're doing out in California. So like that's another thing that you're starting to have to do everywhere is when you're writing offers on properties. Prior to all this, you would write your offer, and it would have contingencies in the offer. So basically it says, say you're buying a multifamily property, you would write your offer. It says, I'll give you $200,000, but our offer is contingent on, let's just say, an inspection for us to go in there and inspect the property thoroughly. It's on a mortgage contingency. So our offer is contingent on us getting a mortgage. There's different contingencies that you can place in there. What's going on now is that these people are dying to get their offers accepted and doing anything that they possibly can do. So they're removing all contingencies, including the appraisal contingency. So what an appraisal contingency is, a lot of times when people buy cash, okay, I'll buy this house for cash for $200,000, but I want an appraisal contingency that says if this does not appraise for this amount of money, then I can get out or we can renegotiate, whatever. So what people are doing now, specifically the West Coast in California, is they're offering way above ask, 50,000 above, 100,000, 250,000 above ask, depending on what the purchase price is, and they have no contingencies, including no appraisal contingency, which in my mind, I just can't make sense of it. Like, how are you going to spend that much cash, actual cash, and you're going to offer way above what they're asking, and you don't even care what it's worth?
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
You don't even care what the appraisal is, nothing. You just want it that bad. So, I mean, I always try to remove emotion from any purchase that I make real estate wise. And so I don't think that I could, I know that I would never get myself involved in that type of situation. But again, we're talking about people that have $2 million cash. So I guess they got different problems than I have. Maybe I need those problems so I can go ahead. I don't know. Maybe I want those problems.
Yeah,
but,
me too. Shit.
So yeah, man. It does make it. It's a little concerning. My concern is, there's really low inventory now, and there's a lot of people that are buying houses above asking price. And then they're removing appraisal contingency. So what happens is, so you offer 200. And the appraisal comes in at 180. If your appraisal contingency is removed, what a lot of these sellers are making the buyers do is sign something that says you have to make up the difference from what it appraises for and what your offer is. So if you offered 200 originally and it came in at 180, you have to make up that $20,000 difference in cash. Because the bank is only going to give you what it appraises for. So the bank's like, we'll give you what it appraises for. So when it comes in at 180, bank's like, cool, I'm not giving you 200, I'll give you 180. And so that seller still wants their 200, what you told them that you would give. So you have to give your down payment on the 180, so whatever it is, 3.5%, 5%, whatever you said originally, and you have to come up with that $20,000 difference in cash.
Bro, that's so crazy.
Yeah, so they're doing that a lot. They're doing that a lot on like FHA, first time home buyers, and I'm like, where's a fucking first time home buyer coming up with $15,000-$20,000 extra on top of their down? Like, how are they expecting these people to do that? It's nuts.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know where all this. I don't know if everybody robbed the same bank or what the deal is, but people got.
They need to let us know when they're doing the
cash.
next one, bro, because we got to go to that one.
Yeah. I didn't have my mask in time, I don't think.
Jeez, bro. You can just walk in
So
there without
that's
a mask. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Wow, man, that's
like he's mooning us.
That's insane, bro. I didn't. Wow.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for sure. It's been frustrating from a buyer standpoint, and it's frustrating from an agent standpoint because, like I said, you just have, it's just like anything else. It's like you have a clients and they start building up. But in like a regular market, you can find them places, and so you're building them up, and then you're finding them places and coming back down. So you're always kind of at a healthy level. But now you're not able to find your clients' properties, and then so every month you're acquiring more and more and more. And now you're sitting on 10, 15, 20 clients, and they're sending you properties, and there's most of the time, by the time you schedule a showing for that property,
It's gone.
and by the time you go out there, it's already under contract. Gone.
So that's the one I sent you, the 4-unit that I sent you. Remember? It was $299. Yeah, that's a wrap. It's not there no more. I was so sad.
See,
I
it's
was
just
like, fuck.
it's so. I got a guy right now, and he's kind of like half in, half out on buying, and he's like, I like this one. What do you think about it? And I was like, I think these are all great places. When you're serious, let me know, and we'll hit it. We'll get out there and hit it hard. But there's no like in and out right now. Like it's like get your pre-approval, have it in your hand, basically, essentially, and. I'm telling all my buyers right now, if you like something even 50% or more after you're showing, place an offer. Place an offer. See what they say.
Yeah.
See where the chips even fall. Like my thing is always just, I can always walk away from a situation knowing that I tried everything. Like if I try everything, I try all the angles and whatever, and it still doesn't work out, I can walk away happy because I know I tried everything. It's not one of those things, but it's like, I had people that are like, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm like, cool, sleep on it. And then when you wake up, go look for another property.
It's going to be gone.
I promise you it will not be there. I promise you. It's just a waste of time.
So you mentioned, this kind of be a good way to kind of segue into it, but.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. The pre-approval, right? So
Yeah.
is that step number one? Like before you
Yes.
you're thinking about it, you're like, you know what, I want to do it.
YES.
So that's number one.
Bro, yes. I want to make a fucking cardboard cutout right now and say, dude, it is so fucking... And I get it because, I'm a buyer as well. And I was a buyer that just, I have so many people that call me. I have somebody right now that they want to go check out a 4-unit building. And it's not even a lie. Most of the time now, especially with COVID, since COVID started, pretty much since COVID started too, the market kind of at the same time became this crazy wild, wild west time. And so these people are getting, like I said, 20 showings a day, 30, depending on what type of property it is. And so most sellers are requesting that anybody that comes in has to have a pre-approval or a proof of funds that can be shown or sent over, because they're just trying to limit the amount of people coming in and out of their properties. They don't want tire kickers in there because there's already so many people coming in and out.
Yeah, they're just cutting the fat. Like if you don't got,
Exactly.
If you're not really serious, then
we
fuck outta here.
got plenty of people coming, and especially like a multifamily where they have tenants already in place that are there, and so like you have to coordinate with tenants, to come see their units, and some of them don't even want people coming in their unit all the time, which I totally get.
Sure.
So I have a few people. One specifically, she wants to go see this 4-unit, and I was like, okay, well, just letting you know in this environment, most sellers are asking for pre-approvals or proof of funds ahead of time prior to a showing. Would that be a problem? And same run around, like, yeah, money will be there. Don't worry about it. If I like it, And I've had people tell me like, no, I'm not. But if I find something I like, I'll get pre-approved and da da da. And that's fine. That's your choice,
Sure.
100%. And there will be an agent out there for you that will show you 10, 15 properties without a pre-approval. It just won't be this guy. Like, it just won't be.
Honestly, that just kind of sounds like a waste of
Chicago
time, too,
winters. Chicago winters, dude, when there's 9 feet of snow and the lock boxes are frozen and like alarms are going off and all this nonsense, and I don't know if because it's unfortunate too. Like I've had so many times where people are so confident in getting pre-approved, and then they find something, and then I'm like, all right, let's go, and then they go get pre-approved, and their credit is jacked or their income and whatever, and then they get pre-approved for $100,000 less than what they originally thought. So now everything that we just saw is out the window, and they can't even go see it. So knowing your buying power only helps you as well. It's not just for me and knowing that you're pre-approved, but it's just like you have the power now as the buyer. You have 15 different real estate websites and apps that you can go on and look at properties all day long. So you can do a lot of your research ahead of time, but it's like you should want to know as well, like what you're approved for. And what's beautiful too, and this is why I love multifamilies as well, is that you can actually get approved for more with a multifamily than you can with a single family.
Okay. Because of obviously because of the size? Or like
the size, but it's
type of
so it's what a single family is. It's not income producing, so it's just debt. So they just look at your income and all that. With a multifamily, they take the unit. So if it's a 2-unit, and so for an FHA, so you're going to own or occupy that property. So for a 2-unit, you're going to occupy one. So they're going to take the rental income from that second unit and add it to your personal income to help you qualify.
Gotcha. I remember when you told me that too, because I had mentioned to you, I was like, because of the drop in, for me, like, you know, whatever, I was like, man, that's not going to be a problem. But when you told me that, and I talked to somebody else too, I was like, oh, man, we're cool. I'm going to be honest, bro, I haven't even gotten pre-approved, bro.
Yeah, I mean, but pre-approval, so what I always say too is like, go look around and stuff. A pre-approval, depending on who you get it from.
You have to go to a bank? Like,
how
how does that work? You go to a bank?
So that's good. That's a good question. So I hate banks.
That's the first place
I hate banks. Yeah, most people do, because most people, you have a checking account, a savings account, you have had a bank that you've dealt with probably your whole life, you know, whatever. Banks, I don't recommend them for, I don't really recommend them for real estate, but I definitely don't recommend them for real estate investing, like if you're buying a multifamily. They just have different guidelines than what like a mortgage lender has. They're a lot stricter on income, credit scores, and one of the biggest things, especially in a market like this, is sellers want to know that you can get a deal done as soon as possible. So like 30 days, hopefully less, which is crazy, but like 30 days is pretty good. And so banks are only 9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Right.
So like if you run into an issue on Friday afternoon, Friday morning even, and you can't reach your bank lender, that means you're not going to get an answer until Monday morning, Monday afternoon. Maybe they don't even get to you Monday because they're catching up on all the shit from over the weekend. So you might not even hear somebody from Tuesday. So that just wasted 4 days of your entire deal on a deal that you said you could get done in 30 days.
Gotcha.
And banks don't give a shit about your time. They don't care what your timeline is. They don't care that you told that seller 30 days. They don't care nothing. That bank person doesn't even know who you are. You don't have like an actual relationship with that person. So I always recommend a mortgage lender, like a local mortgage lender.
Okay.
Because they have flexibility that banks do not. Typically they have more loan products that they can use. They can usually do lower credit scores. They're just a lot more flexible with what they can do. And mortgage lenders have the ability to work weekends. Some don't, just because of personal preference. But like my guy Chris, who I've used for over 10 years, my boy Chris Diamond, he owns and operates Diamond Residential Mortgage. I've known him for over 10 years. I always tell anybody, shout out Chris for real. He's gotten me into properties that I should not have gotten into. I'm like, why? There's no way. Like he's just a magician, man. He's excellent at what he does. But I have such a great relationship with him where, if I have a buyer who's using Chris and something happens, I can call Chris. It's 9:45 right now on a Monday. I can call Chris right now and he'd answer my phone call.
That's amazing.
And we could talk about the deal. We could whatever. I could text him at any point. So like that's a resource that is invaluable at times, depending on what's going on. Is because with real estate, man, it can get crazy and a deal can blow up fast. So if you have people around you that you don't know or that you're not familiar with, it can be bad. So I don't like banks. I've seen a lot of deals go bad with banks, unfortunately. So get yourself a mortgage lender. Get yourself familiar. Yeah.
See, that's so crazy, bro. Because just off rip, like that's what I always thought it was that you just gotta go to the bank and be like, I want to buy a house.
Most people do.
What do I do? Okay, so step one is get pre-approved and then go to a mortgage lender. Now, a mortgage lender
get pre-approved from a mortgage lender.
Yeah, I'm sorry, from a mortgage lender.
Yeah.
And then, well, with that, how do you? I'm trying to think, bro. Like, how do you you just kind of go through and meet people? Is it like an individual? I'm thinking, is it individual? It's like a team. They have like an office. You kind of go and
So I don't even have to meet Chris if I don't like. He now beautiful thing about 2021 and years prior is like everything can be done online. So he has like a link. Like so when I'll get a client and they're interested in buying such and such, I ask them if they've been pre-approved yet. They say no. I say, okay, are you okay if I connect you with my lender? They say yes. So Chris can legit just send them this link, and this link just asks all that necessary information. Like a pre-approval can legit take you 10 minutes.
Damn,
you submit like two. Yeah, man, you submit like two, because a pre-approval is just a general scope of what you'd be approved for. It's not the exact amount, but it gives you kind of a scope. Like you'll be pre-approved for 150 to 200 or whatever it is. And so, but it gives you an idea of where you can search. And so, you'll submit 2 pay stubs and you'll submit, some minimal information. And what's great about a pre-approval is one pre-approval is good for 4 months, depending on who you go to. So you can shop on one pre-approval for 4 months. So I could shop now. It's March, April, May, June, July. I could shop damn near halfway into the summer if I got pre-approved right now.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
So that's what's great. Okay. You don't have to keep doing it. And what happens is, you get pre-approved, and so in this market, there's a chance, if you have the Windy City agent, you'll get yourself a property within that 4 months. But this market's crazy, and so there's a chance that you'll get pre-approved and you're not going to be able to find that property within that 4 months. All that lender has to do is just go and look at your stuff again and just make sure everything is correct still and make sure everything is verified and up to date still, and then they'll just reissue you another pre-approval. So it's very painless, very seamless. So you can just keep going. So as long as your income is the same and all that, they'll just reissue another pre-approval.
Gotcha.
And then you're free to go. Then you're free to go look.
Now, for couples, right? Couples that want to do that, it's the same deal. You can 2 people can do it at one time to get the same.
Yeah. So
for that. Yes.
So it's all personal preference in terms of how you want to do it. Like some people have where one person has better credit than the other, one person makes more money than the other. So I always say, like if you're married, both of you are going to be on the title anyway. So sometimes it's better off, like depending on what the situation is. Maybe she's a more qualified buyer than you are, so it's better for her to just have it in her name, and then you'll both be on title for the house no matter what. Or so I always say, like, let the mortgage lender decide what's best, like what the best combo is, whether it's you doing it by yourself or you guys doing it together. Because sometimes someone's credit is so low that it's actually dragging the other person down and you're not going to get a good rate. And maybe this person's income is good enough by itself to stand alone. So they can just get qualified by themselves, get the loan themselves. And then, like I said, you both will be on title no matter what because you're married. So it's fine either way.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I'm thinking for couples that want to do it.
And what's beautiful about that is you can get you can, like, that's why if you can get someone on board, like if your significant other is on board with, and this is just anybody, like with real estate investing, and they see the benefits of it and everything else, you can get Fannie and Freddie Mac are loan products. You can get up to 10 Fannie Mac loan products in your name, and your significant other can get 10 in their name.
That's right. I remember we didn't talk about that on the podcast, but wow, hold on. So so Freddie Mac is a type of loan, right?
Freddie and Fannie are,
Freddie and Fannie
are a type of loan product.
So that's a type of loan that you can get for what what you want. So what Imagine that's pretty cool is that, for example, we want to, if let's just say Kim and I, we get these 20, so we can get 10 of those. I can get 10 of those, and she can get 10 of those, and separate.
So you get 10 in your name, so you can keep rinsing and repeating. And that's why, like I said, it's good for both of you to have, like, that's why financial education is undervalued itself. It's like both of you should have good credit and work on your credit and have, so that way you both can apply for loans separately.
Yeah.
So that way, like, all of my rental properties are in my own name. And, and we could do it but like I said, I can get 10 in my name, just me, and then she could do her own 10 as well, and then you could have a combined 20 properties, up to 20. Now, after like 6 and 7, credit score requirement goes up and reserves, and it's not just cut and dry, but essentially you can get 10 apiece and have. So yeah, that's why it's like, I always say, like, the game is rigged for you to be able to make money and to capitalize off of it, and you just have to know how to do it.
Right.
You just got to know where to go and how to start.
Damn, bro, that's
That blows
yeah,
my
yeah,
mind,
dude,
right?
like that's crazy, because
Yeah.
that's one of the things that wow, damn, bro. So you can build an empire,
And
you
those can
know,
all be
like
bro, easily too. Like I said, like just like the burr strategy and some of these other like the house hacking and all that kind of stuff is you can just keep rinsing and repeating and doing multi-family properties. So like that 10 doesn't necessarily have to be like 10 single family houses. Those could be 10 2 units, 10 3 units, a combination of 2, 3, 4 units, whatever. So it's not just like 10 properties, 10 doors.
Yeah.
It could be 10 properties, whatever, 40 doors or whatever. So you could absolutely build a quote unquote empire on minimum, down payments and, whatever.
now with for example, let's just play out this scenario, right, where you know um I do one separate, my wife, we're both on the deed or whatever. Now once that deal goes through, now I have the deed. This is my place, my building, and people are renting. What's the aftermath of that, like credit score and stuff like that? Like when can you kind of get going on the next one?
Oh yeah, pretty quickly. Like my lender always told me, because when I first started, and it seemed like such a slow process when I first started. Like I was just saving up money and then then doing it and then having to resave up. And I was like, man, this takes forever. And I was like, and I'm driving around the city and I'm looking at all these huge high-rise buildings, 40, 50 stories, these commercial buildings, and they got people's names on there that are leasing these. And I told my lender, I was like, how do these jagoffs, how are they getting enough money, or like how are they doing this? And he basically told me, I was like, how do I know that I'll continue to be qualified for loans moving forward? And he's like, as long as you have the money for the down payment, he's like, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay. So as long as like your income is straight, as long as you, whatever, as long as you have that down payment money,
Yeah.
then that's like the biggest thing. Being able to at least show down payment money.
Gotcha.
And obviously, like I said, first-time home buyers and stuff, they have grants available to them and some loan products. Like I always say, like for first-time home buyers, to do your research on any of those programs that say that they'll give you money for your down payment, because as we both know, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
So most of the time what they do is these people, they can't just give you free money. That's just not a successful business model to just
Sure.
give people money for nothing. So what they do is they give you money, so $7,500 or whatever it is. And then what they do is they put a lien on your property for 5 years, 7 years, however long. They don't let you refinance. They don't let you sell. They don't let you do anything until that money is paid back.
Oh,
so
gotcha. Okay.
we both know that like a lot of shit can happen within 5 years, 7 years, where maybe you have to refinance, maybe you have to sell, like who knows? And they'll put a lien on your property and not allow you to do that until that money's paid back.
Gotcha. Because that was one of the things too with the different type of programs. Like just because they're available too, I feel like some of them that are like I don't know. I think here in Vegas I saw one where it's like there's a program where they can basically pay for your down payment. Like yeah, that sounds cool, but then I'm just like I don't know. Like that doesn't sound like ideal. That's what I'm saying,
sure.
because with that everything you're at least just off the top of my head, like I feel like your mortgage would just be so high to where you couldn't even really.
Yeah, and that's what they do. They jack up the payment. So your regular mortgage payment would be $1,000, but they're gonna make it $1,200 or $1,300. So that $1,000's going towards the mortgage, and then that extra $200 to $300 is going in their pocket to pay themselves back for that loan. And so you can't get rid of them until that's paid back by paying that back over the course of however long, or through other options. So like I said, does it make sense for certain people? Sure. If you think that you're going to be in this house for 20 years, no doubt about it, whatever, and you want to go that route, sure, I think it makes sense, but I just, like I said, I think it's always wise to read the fine print, because there's no such thing as a free lunch, like I said, and no one's just giving you money just because you're a first-time home buyer. So there's grants out there that you can apply for. That's just grant money that you can get and apply for. But I think a lot of people do that stuff because they're not aware of like, oh, I can go buy a 4-unit for 3.5% down. A lot of people think that you have to go save up 20% for a 4-unit or 25% or this crazy asinine number. And it's like, no, you can own or occupy a 4-unit building for 3.5% down and collect rental income.
Yeah. That's one of the things with this one that I was
Out of
looking
your
at.
mind?
What happened?
I said, are you out of your mind? Like, do that all day.
Hold on real quick. For sure. So let's just use the one that I sent you for an example, right? It was 300 flat. It was 4 units. And again, all this different research I've been doing where I'm just like, you know what? I want to do the 4-unit route, and then we'll go from there. But so that one obviously would do FHA. But real quick, I want to talk to you about this though. All of them are already occupied, which was pretty awesome. All of them are already occupied. But within getting the FHA, so FHA, I know we've talked about. I don't think we've explained what it is. So, just touch real quick, bro. What that means, like the FHA.
Yeah, so FHA is a government product, and so basically FHA allows FHA, and I'm not a lender, so this is not financial advice or anything like that. And so if I say anything fucked up, it's just for that reason. But FHA allows you to put the lowest percent down, so it's an owner-occupied loan. So owner-occupied is that you are going to, whoever's taking out that loan is going to occupy that property and live there. So FHA allows 3.5% down. And FHA actually allows the lowest credit score as well. So there's some lenders that are claiming that there's some lenders that are still claiming that they're doing 580 credit scores.
Fuck, that's really low.
It's really low.
Not to laugh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not to, you know, anybody's got a 580, hit me up. I got a fantastic credit repair guy. Shout out Sean over at,
there you go.
Whatever. Yeah, shout out Sean. He'll get rid of collections, bankruptcies, inquiries, everything.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
He's getting rid of one for me right now.
Yeah, shoot me a text.
I'll hit you up. Yeah, he's hooked me up. He's the one that did my business credit for me and got me all that money.
Okay.
He had to patch me up. He had to patch me up first.
Yeah.
So FHA, 3.5%, and so like I said, there's some lenders that are claiming that they can do 580 credit scores. But usually it's like 620, 640 can get you an FHA. And so FHA is single family, 1 to 4 units you can get an FHA loan for.
Gotcha.
And so that's your owner occupied. Usually most first time home buyers are using FHA.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that one, I mean, it's just super enticing, the 3.5% down, but
3.5, 100%.
So obviously for this example we're using, the 4-unit, we set 300,000. Obviously we choose the owner occupied. Now, the question I bring to you, because it's all occupied, would I have to kick a guy out?
Yeah, so my first property I ever bought, before I bought my own to live in or anything, was the 3-unit building, and I bought it FHA, and it was a fully occupied building, a fully occupied 3-unit. And so we had to write a letter, if I remember correctly. We wrote a letter to, the seller had to write a letter saying that he was going to get this person out. And then I had to write a letter to the lender saying I was going to occupy that unit, and we're in the process of removing this person. So that way, like, they had it on file that one of the units was going to be available. Because FHA requires you to move into the property within 60 days of closing. So once closing happens, you have to occupy that property within 60 days. So you don't necessarily have to occupy on the day of closing, but it has to be like in the process of being available for you to occupy within that 60 days. And then you have to occupy that property for 12 months. So with that being said, if it is fully occupied, you can do write a letter, your lender can do some workarounds in order to be able to get that property done.
Gotcha.
So you want to try to obviously get it so one is available. Most sellers, I would say, on the 2 to 4 range, they usually leave one unit open on purpose so that leaves your buyer pool open to investors and FHA buyers to owner occupied, because one unit's available for them to move into, and so it's easy.
That's pretty smart. For
the loan process. So yeah, most people, most sellers, most listing agents, whatever, for 2 to 4, if it has renters, they usually leave one open, or if it is fully occupied, one of the tenants has a month-to-month lease, so they don't have a year lease. It's a month-to-month that can be broken within 30 days notice. which leaves it good for an FHA buyer.
Solid. Okay. Yeah, 'cause I saw that. I was like, damn, man. Like, I have to, tell somebody to skedaddle. I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah, might as well introduce yourself to your tenants on day one, kicking people out.
Like, hey, how you
that'll
guys
start
doing?
a good.
I'm the new guy. You gotta go, Mike.
that starts a great relationship. I'm sure rent on time.
Yeah, right.
No, you'll have no problems over there at all.
Yeah, I actually met this guy, man. He's like 24. He's 24. He came to the shop over here at Fino. I was cutting his hair. And, the real estate conversation brought up. He's like, dude, I just bought a 4-unit kind of by you. He lives around here, too. And, dude, he's so funny, bro. He's like, everybody's like, I would try to not let people know that I was the owner, but there was a family there that was, there, like, during the showing, and they saw him. So he's like, I've raised everybody's rates except them. And he's like, bro, they knew. Yeah, and he's like, they bring me pupusas because they're Salvadorian. They bring me all this food. And then they're like, listen, bro, I'm not going to raise your rent. So I appreciate this food. But it's just,
you don't want to ruffle no feathers, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the things where it's like with the 4-unit that we're looking at, I'm just like, man, I really don't want to live in there, bro. But
and like I said, it's a don't get me wrong. Like doing this, like doing the multifamily route and to like actually own or occupy, especially like obviously a 2-unit is most likely in any market is going to be less expensive than a 4-unit. So if you're looking in the same price point, so say your price point is $300,000, you might get a decent 2-unit for $300,000. But it's not going to make a ton of money. You're probably still going to have to come out of your pocket every month to pay that mortgage because that first unit's not going to pay the entire nut.
Right, for the time,
which is fine.
There.
Yeah, which is fine because you're still, you're not coming up with the full amount. That tenant's paying you. You're paying down your mortgage. It's still a good deal. 3-unit is pretty much the sweet spot because usually you're occupying one and then you have 2 tenants. So that second tenant is usually paying a good chunk of that mortgage, but there's still a little bit left of it. And then that third tenant finishes up, and then the rest of their rent is like your cash flow of what you're actually putting in your pocket every month. And then a 4-unit is even better, obviously. So it's like that second unit is taking a good chunk of the mortgage. The third unit is finishing off the mortgage plus putting a little cash flow, and then that 4th unit is all cash flow for the most part, depending on where you are in the country, obviously. So 3 units really the sweet spot. 4-unit is there, but like I said, if your price point say $300,000, you might get a decent 2-unit. That 3-unit's probably going to be a little less nice, and then obviously to get a 4-unit, it's probably not going to be super desirable. So like I said, I never want to make it sound sweet. I never want to make it sound like it's going to be roses all day. Like I said, if people follow me on Facebook, I always give the dirty side of being a landlord. I do a thing called So You Want to Be a Landlord, eh?
Yeah, that shit is so cool.
That's
so funny,
it's just me dealing with the worst shit ever all the time, and so
make sure you check them out. Check them out on Facebook, man. There's a lot of gems. Instagram too at the Windy City Agent, Matt Relay. I'm just kidding, Matt Relay.
Yeah, Matt Relay.
My bad, but you were saying the 4-unit?
No, but yeah. So like I said, but again, that's the beautiful thing about the loan thing is like you might get qualified for a little bit more if you chase a 4-unit as opposed to a 2. But yeah, like I said, I never want to make it sound sweet. Like it to own or occupy something of that, it's going to be a sacrifice for sure. It's not going to be. Could you go get a single family house and stretch out and live and all that? Absolutely, you could absolutely do that. But that's debt, and you're never going to get to where you want to get with owning your house and only owning your house and not having any investments. Like you just. It's like that's why it's so good to start young and to start like not that I'm a dinosaur and as much as you want to make me sound like I'm as much as you make me want to sound like I'm Robert De Niro in The Irishman, like I'm 90 years old walking around with my cane and shit, but like you're younger than me, so it's like it's so key to start early because it's like legit you have to occupy these properties for 12 months. And so it's like if you sacrifice for 3 years, even just 3 years, that could be 3 properties that you collect. And if you go the multifamily route, that could be 6 units, that could be 9 units, that could be 12 units, depending on what it is. So it's like sacrifice for such a short amount of time. And if you learn this and acquire the knowledge early enough and you actually go out and do it, I mean, you could damn near be retired by 30 years old. Even soon. I know guys that retire at 25, 26, 27. And people think that it's not possible. Like, oh, look at this person. They and I was like, no, that person grinded, and you see those units that they were occupying? Those were shitty little 1-bedroom. Like, people will buy a 4-unit and it'll have 3-bedroom units and 1-bedroom bullshit ass unit like on the first floor in the basement. And typical person might go occupy one of those big units and have it be nice. And like the real investor, the real grinder, they're gonna go occupy that first floor bullshit basement because they know that they're gonna rent out the other ones for more. They'd rather make more money instead of occupying one where they're gonna be stealing that rent money basically from someone that could be paying them. So it's a sacrifice game, and it's just how far do you want to take it, and how far do you want to commit to it. So like I said, it's one of the few things that you can do in life where it's like for such a short time frame window of commitment, you could absolutely change your entire life. Your entire course of life can change in just 2 years, 3 years, if you just stick to a game plan. There's nothing else. I bought that house last year in cash. I bought it for $58,000 in cash. It was already rehabbed. I rented it out. As soon as I bought it, I had it listed for rent. It's been renting ever since. It's worth, I don't know, probably $90,000, $95,000 right now. I haven't touched it, and it's making me money the entire time. There's not a stock, there's not any other avenue where you could do that and make that type of return. I'll be paid. My entire investment will be paid back within 4 years, 4.5 years. So everything after 4.5 years, when my initial investment is paid back, is cheese. It's free money.
Yeah.
So if I hold it it takes me 5 years to pay back my initial investment. If I hold it for 10, that's another 5 of profit, and then when I sell, whatever I make at closing is more profit. There's nothing like I that's all my money because I'm completely paid off at that point. I'm paid back.
Yeah, that's why I like this game too, bro. Because it's like it's all like a time game, and it's like even and that's one thing I never understood about this too. Where I was like, well, how are you making money if everything you get? I assumed was like, I don't know. You got 2 rents, right? You got a 2-unit. $1,000, 2,000. Your mortgage. I always thought that it was like, well, even if the mortgage is $1,000, you're still putting everything there, so you're not really making money until the shit's over with. But it's just like, no, you're still cash flowing while paying this.
Yeah, and it's up to you what you do with that money too. Like you could put it toward, like if you're say you're collecting $2,000 and your mortgage is $1,000. You could just pay the $1,000 and pocket that $1,000 if you want to. I don't recommend that, but you can also pay that $1,000 mortgage and then take that other $1,000 and put it towards the principal balance and just pay down. Like I know people that don't want mortgages at all, so they use every dollar of cash flow and put it towards their mortgage. Because everything after that, so if the mortgage is $1,000, any dollar you put in after that payment, after that $1,000, goes straight to principal. So you can just pay that thing down super fast. So a lot of people don't like mortgages. They don't want loans. Here in Illinois, Chicago, taxes are so high that like I've ran the math where even if my properties are paid off, it reduces my payments like $250. So it would cost me $70,000 to pay off one of my mortgages, and it would reduce my payment like $200 a month. Because I still have to pay taxes and insurance. Now here, taxes are crazy. So instead of paying $70,000 to reduce my payment $200, I'd rather take that $70,000 and go invest it in another property that's going to make me $800 or $1,000. I'll have that mortgage for my whole life if I could.
Yeah, because it's still making you money regardless.
Still making me money. Yeah, I don't let it'll just naturally be paid. I don't let my tenants pay that thing down. I don't care. My tenants will pay that down for 30 years. And then
is that ever something like with tenants and stuff where you kind of, is that ever a worry for you where it's just like, man, what if these people leave, or like what's that process?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything else, and I hear that a lot from people too. It's just like people that are getting into it, like what if your tenants don't, what if you can't rent this thing, or what if your tenant leaves, or what if you got to replace your roof, or what if you got and it's like, cool, what if if I owned my house, if I bought a house and I had to replace my roof, which is going to happen, I'm going to have to replace a roof whether I own a rental house or I own my own house. The shitty part is when I own my house and there's no tenants and it's just me paying the mortgage, when I have to replace that roof, that's coming out of my pocket. That's just coming out of my pocket. No one's paying me back for that. Nothing is. When I have to replace a roof at a rental house, yeah, it sucks. I gotta pay it out of my pocket. But then the next month, my tenants pay rent, and that money slowly comes back to me. So I'm getting repaid for these items that I'm putting into the house. So my tenants are helping me build equity in my house. They're helping me build value. A furnace goes out, yeah, that sucks. I just had a whole AC unit or a whole furnace unit go out a couple months ago in the dead winter, and it cost me $2,500. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. But then the very next month, a few days later, on the 1st, I got a check from Section 8 for $22.79, and so I slowly get my money back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
I'm laughing, bro, because it's so crazy. It's
crazy.
It's like how the fuck do you not want to do that?
And what's crazy and beautiful is, and we'll touch on this. Will be like I was telling you before. We'll treat this like class, you know, the easiest steps into and we'll get into what's called a cash out refinance, and basically what that is, and that's basically what I'm doing on my properties now. Is once you build enough equity in a property, so equity is basically what the property's worth and what you owe. So whatever's in between is the equity. And so once you build up enough equity in a property, you can do what's called a cash out refinance. And basically what that is so if it's worth 100 and I owe 50, I have 50,000 in equity. A lender might say, depending on what his ratios are, I can get access to 30,000 of that. So I can do what's called a cash out refinance, and basically when I refinance the property, I can pull out $30,000 in cash and use that however I want.
Yeah,
and it's tax free.
That's my favorite part. Is that
it's tax free because it's a loan. It's a loan to yourself. Yeah. So what I do now is I have all my properties. I've had them long enough, and I've put in enough sweat equity into them. Where now pretty much every 3 to 5 years, I'll build up enough equity from my tenants, because my tenants are making those rent payments and I'm paying the mortgage from my rent payments. So every 3 to 5 years, I do a cash out refinance and I pull out $20,000 a piece on all of them, and then I use that money to go buy another. So my tenants are growing my portfolio for me.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're answering all the questions that I think were like, you know, well, fuck, or this and that. Like, everything has an answer, so it's like, fucking do it.
It's what I call, like, there's a real thing called an opportunity cost, and so it's like, there's so many people right now that are sitting on the sidelines that are going, oh, the market's crazy, I'm going to wait till it crashes, or I'm going to wait till interest rates go back down, or I'm going to wait till this, and they never jump in, or they jump in, like, think about, it's an opportunity cost. Like, if you don't jump in now and you wait, think about all that time that you could have owned that property and how much money you could have made and how much equity you could have built, or whatever the fact may be. And so it's like, it all just starts from property one. Like, once you get that first one, that's when you start building on what I'm, you know, all the things that I'm talking about. So it's just like, get your feet wet, learn. It's going to suck. That first one's going to suck for sure. You're going to, dude, I've wanted to sell my shit. I've wanted to sell my shit 1,000 times. Like
this whole process, or what do you mean?
Yeah, being a landlord is not like I said. I don't ever want to make anything sound sweet, and so being a landlord is tough, man. Like, it's tough. Like, whether you have a property management company, you do it yourself. Nothing, you know, it sucks. You're gonna deal with a lot of stuff, but it builds character, and there's nothing that's gonna make you learn faster than actually owning the real estate and being hands on with it and learning the ins and outs of it. And it makes you a better investor all the way around. But it's kind of like a snowball effect, man. Once you get that first one under your belt, it's like building a house. That first property is the foundation to that house. So you got to make sure that foundation piece is solid. And so you want to make sure you buy a good one. You want to make sure that, you know, don't buy a fixer-upper for the most part for your first one. Make sure it's turnkey, you know, that the work is good, because you don't want to have to worry about it later down the road. Buy that one, build that foundation piece. And then you'll just see, man, it can grow so fast and so quick, and then it's just fun.
Right. And that's yeah, man. I mean, that was one of the things where, like, I just wanted to, like, learn. like hands on, where I'm just like, that's kind of why I wanted to get like like a small, like a little $30,000 house out here, $100,000 house. Yeah. But there's none of those, no fucking houses out here.
I
So
know,
I'm
bro.
like, dude, whatever, bro.
It's a bad. I know it's a bad time for sure to be. You gotta be creative. That's why it's good to network, man. You're in a good position. Like you're an outgoing guy. You got all these social medias, the podcast, everything else, and so people listening, like. This is one of those markets where, man, like I said, getting creative and finding your deals is so key. Like I got my team of guys right now that I find lists of homeowners. I send out bulk emails, text messages to homeowners asking anybody if they're interested in selling. Trying to find off-market properties, trying to just do anything, because anything that hits the market that's even relatively a decent deal is gone. It's just a no-brainer. But then there's some gems, man. I got one of my guys. He's buying a 6-unit right now. It was for sale for $395.
Damn,
we got it
really?
under contract. Yeah, we got it under contract for We got it under contract for $340. Then we did the inspection, and there was a bunch of shit wrong during the inspection.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that we renegotiated, and we're getting it for $320 now.
Jesus, bro. Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
2 more doors for the one I was looking at is $20,000, bro.
Yeah.
So insane.
Mm-hmm. And once this thing is fully up and running, it'll bring in just about $6,000 a month. Each unit will rent for close to $1,000.
Fuck.
And taxes in Chicago, like actual Chicago, aren't bad. So for that 6-unit, his yearly taxes are like $5,000 or less.
Oh, that's not bad. Dude, my parents' house was like almost 4.
No,
They're-
that's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
a little
When you
before.
go, when you come out here, like in the suburbs, that's when it gets crazy, especially like the south suburbs. And he's buying a 6-unit. We got it for $320. He got lucky though. I didn't think that it was gonna. I didn't think they were gonna give another reduction, but like I said, it's one of those things right now where you gotta just. He's bought properties. This is now his 3rd property I think he's bought with me. But he's kind of doing what we're talking about, where he must have. I don't know. He must have had some money to begin with. I don't know if it was from like a 401k or where it's from, but like this property, which it was not his original intention, but what's going to end up happening, which is going to be beautiful, is that, like I said, they were asking almost $400,000 for it. Fixed up everything else, it's probably worth where it's at. It's probably $450 to $500.
Wow.
And so he's now getting it for $320. I would say it's going to cost him $50,000 to get it where it needs to be. And so he's still all in it around $370, which is well under $400. This thing's worth $450 to $500. So the lender is what they're going to do is they're going to give him an interest-only loan for the first year, and so that year, so his payment will be real small. It's not paying down the loan balance; it's just interest only. And so what he's going to do is use that year to fix up the property. There's a bunch of shit wrong with it. So he's gonna fix it up, fix up the units, get it rented out, get it what we call stabilized. And then after that year, he's going to refinance it to its current value. And what he'll be able to do is actually pull his original money out. So he's I think he's putting down 20 to 25% maybe, which is, I don't fucking know, whatever the math is, 90 grand, whatever. And so the value, as long as that value comes in at between 450 and 500, he'll be able to pull out almost all of his original down payment money back. So he'll get a 6-unit property that's cash flowing, and he'll get his original down payment money back.
Damn. So now the rest is just like his house money. It's not even house money. You cash flowing.
100%. So that's why, like I said, and that's for a later episode, but like learning how to run numbers and analyze a deal is very, very, very important, because you can definitely get caught with your pants down by just jumping into a I know how exciting it can be, like once you start learning about real estate and you learn, you just want to go and go buy a property, and so you can definitely get in trouble because you half-ass ran numbers, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, these aren't renting for what I thought they were going to rent for. This thing's not worth what I thought it was worth. And, it's just not a great situation. So learning how to analyze and learning how to run numbers on a property is very, very key. So for this, yeah, man, he'll get something that brings in about $6,000 a month. His mortgage payment will probably be, I don't know, $2,500 or less.
Jeez, bro.
And then he'll get all of his down payment money back, which is, again, like I said, I'm not doing math right now, but it's somewhere around 90,000, 100,000, something like that.
Dude, and that's so crazy because that's just, that's just 2 bands a month of you not really doing anything, bro. I mean, obviously you're doing whatever. It's just like,
that's what I was
oh
saying
my God.
Before is like most people when they're talking about their real estate goals, they'll say, oh, I want to own, like I talked about before, oh, I want to own 100 doors or I want to own 1,000 doors. And I feel like that's fine. If you have that goal for a specific reason and whatever, that's fine. But I feel like most of the time it's just for people to trump themselves up, to make them, oh, I have 1,000 doors, just so they can go talk to somebody and tell them they have 1,000 doors and it sounds cool.
Yeah.
My thing is just like, I want to make X amount of dollars. Mm-hmm. Like a month. Like my goal is a monthly amount goal, not a door. I don't care how many doors I have. Like I said, I wish I could only own one door and make the money that I want to make because that's all I would own. I don't want that many. Yeah,
it's not it's not like a you're not stroking your ego with that.
Exactly. I don't need to tell you I own 10,000 and stuff like that because I know people that own 1,000 doors and because, like I said, because of they partnered on it with a bunch of people or they have such a small equity stake in it that they're not even really making that much money where they're still having to go out and do more deals because that's not even enough money. So, my goal is a monthly dollar amount goal. So I just look at where I invest properties at, what the average return is for those properties. So like my single family houses that I buy, the average return is somewhere between $700 and $1,000 a month of cash flow in my pocket. So I know that like if my goal is $10,000 a month, I know that I would need 10 single family houses in these specific areas in order to reach that goal. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, okay, I have a goal now. I need 10 houses. And so when I buy that first one, I'm like, cool, check it off. There's a house.
Yeah.
Now I know.
And
that's the easiest way.
And that's so cool, too, because it's just like, you got the first one. All right, cool. But it's just like, it's a step. And I feel like that's kind of where, just like learning about it, just kind of like anything else, it just becomes addicting where it's like, okay, cool. First one, got it. I'm excited about it, but I'm excited about the next one, and then 3, and then 4.
There's a celebration for sure.
Yeah, dude.
But it's like on to the next one.
Yeah.
Because you're seeing it, it's like a goal that you're checking off that house, and then like I was telling you before, how I like doing it and how it keeps me motivated is like I have a picture of it in my notes, and then I actually have it written down where I was like, here's what my ideal lifestyle looks like, and I literally wrote it down. I was like, I want. A car payment of this would be an ideal car payment. Here, I want to take 2 to 3 vacations a year. I want to possibly live in 2 locations during the year for when it's cold here and whatever. And so it broke down to here's what that dream life monthly amount is. Here's my groceries. Here's fucking everything. I want to go out to eat 3 times a week or whatever. And so then on this side, I broke down, okay, like what do I need in order for that to take place? And so I literally have it down to a science of like what properties and what I need to make on every property. So it's like we were saying, you go buy that property, you check it off the list, and then you're checking off one of those items off the goal list. It's like, okay, now I can go out to eat 3 times a week. And now here's those 2 to 3 vacations. You don't necessarily do them right away, but you know that, okay, I just bought that, so that's going to fund that when that time comes. Yeah, and you're just like, oh, I'm 50% done. I can do all that,
bro. And see, that's so cool too because, I catch myself. I'm just not dreaming, but I'm just like, man, I can't wait till. Like I had this conversation with my wife all the time. It's like, man, I can't wait till we're not worrying about this. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we don't worry about, thank God. But there's certain things that we do. I don't fucking want to worry about it. There's certain things where I want to wake up every day and feel like it's just different worries. Obviously you don't want to be without worries, but anyways, the reason why I bring that up is because when you do that. You make those thoughts and those dreams a reality. You're mapping it out, and I never thought you said that to me before. I never thought about it like that. But when you do that, when you write them down, and you say, okay, this looks like this. now you're not just kind of waking up every day and hoping to get like this. Like, no, this is what it is. This, I mean, for me, right? It's all individual, and it's the first step of me getting to that is going to take, you know, X, Y, Z, and then from there, wow, I think that's so important, man. To
Yeah, bro, it's like a vision board almost. It's like when you're like, your mind can just be a fuck space forever. Like worries and everything can just bounce around in your head for hours, days, weeks at a time, and like you go to bed and you're trying to go to sleep and these things are just going everywhere. So it's like building that board is almost important, because it's like you're taking those worries or whatever actually out of your head and putting it in a physical space, and you're looking at it and you're realizing it, and then you're solving those worries in a physical way.
right.
And so it kind of helps alleviate those worries, because you're like, instead of it bouncing around my head and I'm not really putting it anywhere, and I'm not really, you know, doing anything with them or making them any better, I'm going to actually write it down and put it on this physical piece of paper. And then on this side, I'm going to map out how I'm actually going to get rid of that worry or that goal or whatever the fact may be. And so like mine are, like I said, my ideal lifestyle of what, and it's not even anything super ridiculous, but like I said, it's 2 to 3 vacations. It's a mortgage or rent payment of X amount of dollars. It's all of these things. And I literally mapped it out. I want to spend $500 a month in groceries. I want to go out, like all of these things where I just literally sat down for like an hour and a half one night, and I thought of everything I could possibly think of. And then I was like, okay, here on this side, this is what I need to do in order to, here's what I have already. And then it's just like, here's what I have already. So then I can just like do check marks. Okay, here's how far I am already, and then here's what I need to continue to do in order to keep doing it. And then, you know, once you get to that point, you just assess where you are. You want to update your goals, or you're happy, because that's what retirement is, man. Retirement, you know, when we hear it, or when most people hear retirement, it's just that antiquated, oh, retirement. So you worked in a union or something till you were 70, and then you retired, and now you're collecting benefits, and then you live for 5 more years, and then you die, right? That's retirement. And it's like retirement is just where your income, your passive income or whatever it is, outpaces your expenses. So as long as your income that's coming in, that you're generating, is taking care of your expenses or exceeding it, I mean, you could technically retire. Mm-hmm. That's retirement. My expenses are paid for with my income that I'm generating from my investments. So I don't have to go to work. I don't have to go collect a paycheck. I don't have to do any of those things.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny, man. Because I cut a lot of old people. They're like, man, I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready to retire, bro. I'm like, damn, bro, you look fucking 90, bro. Like, what the hell are you gonna do after this shit?
Yeah, bro. I thought I was cutting your hair before you get in the car.
I know, bro. I was like, damn. But see, that's another thing again, where it's just like, and that's another thing you can write down and work towards. It's like, okay, if my goal is to have, you know, not have, but just if this is what it looks like, this is the expenses. Okay, well now I need to find what's gonna exceed these, and then, like you said, you can retire. Like, and wow, that's so crazy to really sit there and map it out like that.
Yeah, because like I'm so blessed, and I'm blessed in the sense of like I'm blessed that I learned what I learned when I did, and I'm just blessed in all sorts of ways. But like I'm blessed in the sense of like, if I wanted to go away this weekend, or if I wanted to just like, I can just go. Mm-hmm. I don't have to check in with a boss. I don't have to do any of those things, and I know while I'm gone, money's coming in. Like I just checked my mailbox, and I got a rent check today, and I got all my direct deposits on the first, and I got, you know, so like I'm good. And if worse came to worse, I can sell my properties. I have enough equity in all my properties where it's like, so it's good to be able to do that. So it's like updating your goals, but like, yeah, man, it's I feel bad. It's like you know, and hopefully like that 90-year-old guy and guys like him are genuinely happy when they're thinking about retirement, and genuinely, you know, they don't regret working their whole life and stuff like that. But being in the union, I worked in the union for over 11 years. My dad's been there for almost 40 years. My cousin, my stepmom, everybody's been there for over 20 years. Like it's all Rileys, and you know, we've been in that building for over 60 years. And so my entire family, I know too many union guys that like legit died a week after they retired. They worked 35, 40
man.
years. Go to retire, and this is it, man. This is the golden era. I get to retire and actually relax, and then they fucking die 2 weeks later.
Duh,
And it's just
terrible.
like, so you worked your entire life, sacrificed everything for this job, which doesn't give a shit about you. I don't care where you work, unless it's your company and your job. That company does not give a shit about you. You committed everything for that, and then like just to it just can't be me.
No.
So like I tell everybody, I'd rather make. I'm glad that I left my job 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now, because it's like I could never. I'd rather make less money than commit my time to other people that don't value my time the same way that I do.
Right.
And it's crazy, man. Once you actually sit down and actually try and actually learn this shit, like I make more money now than I did when I had my regular job, because I actually had the freedom to go learn and to go put my energy towards the stuff that actually interested me and what I wanted to do.
Yeah, man, and that's yeah. Fuck, I don't want to die when I don't want to retire and then die like shit. I always knew that. I always knew that. I didn't want to. Because I kind of have a little taste for that now, where it's like I'm not dying, but no, I'm just kidding. I'm not checking into a but like obviously I work for Phenol. There's a person in charge, but I have a lot of flexibility. I have a lot of flexibility of what I want to do, but I can only imagine, and that's just because of my job title. I mean, let's be honest. But I have a little bit of taste, and bro, it tastes pretty fucking good. It tastes. Right now, like for me, I'm like getting a little sample at Costco. You know what I mean? Where
it's just like the lady that comes around with the plate.
Yeah, I'm just like, sure. I was like, I'll take one. I'll take one, sure. And I'm just, oh my god. So it's like I could only imagine, bro, when for obviously you're like not the next, but like a couple steps ahead, where it's just like, yeah, man, I don't have to, if I really wanted to, I can go and do, A, B, and C, not worry about it. I can sell all this shit and be cool. And I think that that's such a obtainable. You're not that much older than me. You know what I mean? And
no, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not even saying it like in a